E aí, como é que vocês estão? Eu estou fazendo um vídeo porque eu não quero fazer live agora e assim, espera aí, deixa eu ver um negócio. Ah tá, o jogo tá sem som porque tá no menu. Então,
I see. So
eu
you
não ia
believe that this
fazer,
warning letter was sent
só
by the
que
Phantom
o que
Weasel?
acontece? Eu tava começando a fazer as diárias e apareceu esse aqui. E eu não sei se esse aqui é diária ou se é missão secundária, algo assim, ou de evento. Porque pô, apareceu do nada e tá com dublagem, então, né, é coisa importante da história, não sei. Então eu pensei, vou gravar, porque tá a fim de fazer live agora. E eu tô sem gravar, fazer live porque eu tô sem conteúdo, mas o Zong ele vai vir já já. Então eu vou fazer live pegando o Zong, tentando. Porque eu gastei na Elan. E tudo por uma Linete C6. E eu devia ter feito vídeo sobre isso, mas eu não fiz. Tá vendo? Eu falo que não tem conteúdo pra fazer, mas eu perco a oportunidade de gravar o conteúdo que eu tô fazendo. Gravar o que eu tô fazendo. Porque pode virar conteúdo. Os baús eu tô fazendo em off. Porque eu tô vendo as rotas por vídeo. Tá sendo melhor pra mim, sabe? Do que por mapa. Então é por isso que eu não vou é, fazer live mais tentando pegar 100%. Mas é isso. Vamos continuar.
Absolutely, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The
E
Phantom
sim,
Weasel
eu
never
sei
acts as you expect. He
que isso
must have
aqui
faked his own
não
death
é
10
missão
years ago using
Darkonte,
a body double.
mas tem dublagem, então é algo importante, é alguma missão aí, né? Vamos ver.
Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache, but however this turns out in the end, the one thing it won't be is boring.
Tá baixo? Deixa eu ver.
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of this one.
O som deve tá bom.
Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here. Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this one. Could you clue us in?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade ago. I guess you wouldn't know about it. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm a professional. The story goes like this. 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine. Known only as the Weasel, nobody knew his true identity, and the authorities never managed to catch him.
Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those mysterious night burglars that you...
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good
Ladrões
reputation.
e romance.
Our Weasel targeted
Oxi.
whatever people held dear, and no one was safe from... He would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know. The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor. But this guy did not discriminate.
Yeesh.
Not exactly. There's a good chance that the Weasel would still be at large to... A magician named Caesar fell to his death when the police went through his personal effects. They found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal activities. And that was how the Phantom Weasel's identity was... Sure enough, thefts in Fontaine went down after Caesar's death. But today, 10 years on, the notorious thief has once again issued one of his warning letters and pasted it on the gate of the Opera Epiclese for all to see. I had to squeeze through the crowd this morning to
que
get a photo
estranho.
as soon as I heard. Here, it's this one.
Aí é foda, né?
So, this is the warning letter, huh? Let's see what 3 days from now, when evening falls, I shall take from you that which you hold most dear at the opera house. just as you...
This is, without a doubt, a clear declaration of criminal intent. What once seemed like an open and shut case has been blown wide open again.
Uh-oh. If this thief will steal anything that other people value, does that mean even we might be targeted? Aww. But Paimon doesn't want to get kidnapped. Well, he'd have to go through you first.
Okay, the people have spoken. It's clear that the public are very concerned about the Phantom Weasel's reappearance. Let's see, I've got a photo of the letter, my interview
Ó,
notes.
Lyney ali.
Yep, that should be enough to form the skeleton
yeah.
of my article. It does feel like something is missing, though. Something exclusive. Who should I interview next? I need someone with a more concrete connection to the Weasel. Is that who I think it is?
Lyney!
Magic, magician, Caesar, the Phantom Weasel! That's it! Let's go interview Lyney! You see, the original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves Are you serious? What? Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is...
Será que ele ouviu? É, eu acho que é realmente uma missão. Ah, a missão é a lendária do Lyney. Ah, a lendária do Lyney. Ah, agora eu entendi tudo. Eu passei pelo canto da missão do Lyney sem querer. Ah, mas agora eu faço ou não? Agora que agora que eu já tô gravando, eu faço, né? Fazer o quê?
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy.
Really? Then, what?
Well, first you need to relax, because
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. You snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play.
You can tell? Oh boy.
Of course. And that's the end of my performance. You should really be heading home. Remember to apologize to your
All right, got it. Bye, Mr. Magician.
Why, hello. We meet again. Are you...
Oh, why don't you guess, Mr. Telepathic?
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power of telepathy is quite beyond me.
Ai. Me poupe. Pelo amor de Deus.
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the money.
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based on his micro-expressions. That, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty as sin. He made it easy for me. You guys, on the other hand, let me guess. Don't tell me you're here for the Phantom Weasel, are you?
Wow, got it in one!
Wait, really? No trickery this time. It was pure luck. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around about that.
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news about the Phantom Weasel. So, Lyney, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief's
To be honest, it makes me
Angry?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House. That's the night I'll be performing there. Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct challenge to me personally. And if he's not, then it's still going to be a huge headache for me. The mere mention of the weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out, barely anyone will be showing up to watch my show. But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with only one choice. I have to expose the Phantom Weasel's identity before the show.
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous magician and an infamous thief? Wow.
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel is a notorious crook, infamous for—
You're being far too modest, Lyney. I think your magic tricks are even more inscrutable than those of a thief.
Thanks for the compliment, though I have to say, I don't care much for the comparison.
Não gostou da comparação.
A lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. But there's an important difference that these people overlook. Allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
It's gone!
That's the question. Where did it go? Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes, there might be a surprise.
A surprise? Let me see! It's right there! But how? You haven't moved this whole time!
What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Lyney, it seems that my previous praise was woefully inadequate. Clearly, magic is the superior—
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the opportunity to perhaps change some of the preconceived notions you might have about magicians. Since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality. It can be quite frustrating.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might I presume that you are well versed in floral for example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performance, but you used a loomy-doo spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to—
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But I'm afraid I don't know the first thing about floral symbolism. I'm just in the habit of using loomy-doo spells in my magic. It sounds like something I should look into, though.
Well noted. In that case, this brings up— Please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. Otherwise, I will of course— If there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with.
So, Lyney, are you gonna tell us— Aww. Well, magicians are entitled to their secrets. You feel it too, right? So itchy!
Not so itchy then. Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to serve as my temporary magician?
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done. Shall we go for it?
The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, but if he wasn't the Weasel? Well, that'll make things more interesting. It would mean that the Weasel lives, and he's been laying low all this time in some corner of Fontaine. And if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the cemetery often, so I asked Lynette we should make a move. Let's go and...
Rain outlines your...
Vamos curar todo mundo porque, né? Tô morrendo. Não curo tudo, por quê? Tudo bem, né? Fazer o quê? Deixa eu só fazer um negócio aqui rapidinho.
Ad Astra...
Pera, eu vi mais alguém? Ah, Yelan. Ganha 25% de recompensa a mais quando enviado numa expedição. Acho que a Keking é melhor, não? Eu acho. E Fontaine tem algum? Deve ter, né? Mas... tá tudo ocupado já. Vou fazer essa diária rapidinho, já que ela tá aqui nesse canto.
Take it easy.
Vai ser rapidinho, relaxem. A missão tá ali, eu nem vi. Passei por ela, sem ver.
Take it easy. Let me weave you a verse. Gotcha.
Replace my hammer.
Witness the power of Gugwa. Busted. Game's up. Time's over. Cross over.
Morreu. Fazer o resto de uma vez, vai, me desculpa. Porque se eu não fazer as diárias, eu provavelmente não vou fazer depois. Porque mais tarde eu vou pegar baú. Pegar a rota de baú. Sim, estou fazendo a rota de baú ainda. Eu terminei até de Fontaine, pra vocês terem noção. Deixa eu mostrar aqui pra vocês. Ó. 100% aqui, 100% aqui, 100% aqui. E na Zoom tá tudo 100% também. Aqui, 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 aqui. E... aqui, aqui, aqui. E eu comecei recentemente aqui, ó. Vou deixar 100% aqui. Depois de Sumero,
Take it easy.
só vai faltar Lyney. Eu nem tô zoando. Só vai faltar Lyney.
Take it easy. Quietly now. No, my sword! Let me weave you a verse. Things are about to get dicey. Gotcha.
Nem era pra fazer isso. Tira o R. Pronto, tirei. Eu só perdendo tempo. Minhas diárias. Pelo menos não tá demorando tanto pra fazer as diárias. Tirando o fato que eu tô rodando o mapa pra pegar item enquanto faço isso, né? Não, nem é proposital, só vejo o item e pego, entendeu? Teve um ali que eu deixei passar no começo, Afro Rosa tem, mas é porque eu fiquei em dúvida se eu pegava ou não. Já que eu tô em vídeo focado em fazer a lendária do lyney, então eu não posso ficar enrolando com outras coisas. Pô, só aleatório em questão de fazer essas coisas no Genshin. Mano, por que tem tanto bicho esse mecânico aqui, velho? Não consigo entender. Bora lá entregar as diárias. Ah, nem mostrei minha gema, como é que tá? Minha gema tá assim, ó. 9k de gema. No momento.
Add astro. Thank you for complete.
Eu pretendia pegar 10k até os ombros, mas eu acho que não vai rolar, não. Talvez se eu pegar muito baú. Talvez, né? Ó, eu tô com 9.000 gemas aqui. 10 tiro aqui. Com mais 10. Não, com mais 16 aqui. Perfeito. Tá perfeito. Peraí, tem alguma coisa. Deixa eu só ver se tem alguma coisa boa na loja do Paimon. Aqui, né? Ah. É pior que essa lança. Nem é tão boa assim. Sei lá o que eu tô falando. Acho que essa loja demora a ficar útil, né? Tipo, ver algo que a gente realmente precisa. Aqui é só recurso mesmo. Eu esqueci que isso aqui existia. Ah, desbloqueia próximo pra você comprar uma hora. Que? Desbloqueia pra você comprar uma hora. Ah, tá. Desbloqueia isso aqui, eu posso comprar uma hora. Não sei, não é verdade. Como assim desbloqueia após eu comprar uma hora? Não entendi, mas tudo bem. No total dessas gemas aqui, deixa eu ver quanto tiro que dá. 56. Beleza. queria deixar 60 tiros pelo menos até lá.
Phew.
Mas pô, eu tô com bastante tiros, hein? Bastante. Vamos lá. Vamos lá pra lendária. Missão lendária. Calma. Bora lá. Enfim, deixa eu ver que é aqui. Tá. Navegar. Eu ia tirar nos ombros no garantido. Só que aí pra vocês não iria ter graça. Só que agora que eu tô no 50-50, vai ter graça sim pra vocês, porque eu não sei se eu vou ganhar 50-50, porque eu não tenho sorte com 50-50. Mas eu estou animado pra tentar, pra ver se eu vou ganhar ou não. E tipo, dependendo da situação, olha net. Dependendo da situação, eu não me importo, porque eu quero muito Trafalgar Laws, então mesmo que eu perca e fique no garantido, eu pelo menos vou ter o Trafalgar Laws.
Sorry, I bumped into the traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended up chatting for a while.
It's been a while, Lynette. We're working as Lenny's temporary assistants in the...
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation? Have you seen Gemma?
Nope. I've been here a while, and she still hasn't shown up.
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting. Traveler, Paimon, let's go.
Que cara fala?
I'll wait for you here and see if...
Excuse me, good sir.
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiance?
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need...
Yeah, she does. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his... I asked her what she was doing once. She said she wanted to speak to him again. She knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but she just like...
She's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so no one else visits his grave. Gemma's the only one who still thinks about him after all these years. I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to... Anyway, all of that said, she's running... Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us.
You're welcome. I just hope she'll be able to move on one day.
O foda é que esse vídeo vai ficar um pouquinho longo, porque lendária é demorada mesmo.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom...
You're kidding. Wait,
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news fly... But what if? Just hypothetically, I mean.
called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down...
Oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to hide?
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help it. We're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it. Do you think—
You've come to the right people. Yep, he was a great magician. I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once.
I saw him perform too. Sometimes he even got the kids. But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish. As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel.
Whatever the case, now that the weasel is back, Caesar's— I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's— No, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar.
So that's Gemma. Wait, it looks like she's injured.
Ué, quem será que é que eu nem vi? Ah tá, uma figurante.
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured. How bad is it?
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer my question.
My name is Lyney, and this is my sister Lynette.
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler. We're in—
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely accused. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're willing, we'd love to hear what you think about him. I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. In fact, we'll do all we can to keep you safe.
I never believed that he was the Weasel.
Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so going back 10 years, do you remember anything strange in the weeks leading up to the accident? Did Caesar have a fall?
No, not that I know of.
Got it. All right, sorry.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be...
Caralho, também não precisava, não precisava ser tão, sei lá, falar desse jeito, né?
Judging by the look on her face,
ver
there's
o que vai
definitely something
acontecer.
fishy about her.
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
Sim, ela sabe.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened a whole decade ago. It makes sense that she'd be wary around us. In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day.
Eu pulei sem querer, né? Pra pular agora. Segunda parte? Não. Abre um negócio de time sem querer. Ah, bom que eu troco de time. Pera aí. Espera quanto? Eu espero até amanhã do dia seguinte. Já tá. Oh, caralho, vamos ver.
We're way behind schedule.
Oh, desgrama.
If you lie on the grass, you can feel the heartbeat of the world.
We cannot just rely on the ocean's self-cleaning ability.
over here.
Lynette's not joining us today.
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we... Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo. See, when Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were... Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me.
Desculpa, não deu.
Be warned though, I hear he's got a hair-triggered temper. We'd best be careful.
Art is the key ingredient in fine dining.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring them along.
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Lyney stroking his ego.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning something for the same evening that I'm scheduled to do a magic show. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into the Weasel starts with a few questions about Caesar, who...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter? It changes nothing. Are you trying to tell me you actually bought it?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one possibility.
Possibility? It's a fact, Lyney. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully while I'm still willing to put up with you. The Weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere.
Aposto que é ele.
Look, if this
Eu
affects your
aposto.
magic show in any way,
Porque
I
não
will
é
personally
possível que
compensate
não
you for any
seja ele.
losses.
Ele é muito suspeita.
Oh, sir,
Não,
I'm
é
honored,
certo que
really.
talvez seja
But
ele.
this isn't
Ah,
about
mano, o cara
finances for me.
tá insistindo e sendo chato, tá ligado? Então, a chance de ser ele.
My pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me what exactly.
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know for myself what really happened 10 years ago.
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets. And in any case, dead men don't talk. So...
Uh-oh. This is getting...
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that big...
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on. You can't be all business all the time. You know what they say? Live fast, die.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it. Now get out of my face and go be drunk somewhere else.
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Oh, hey. Edmondo. He and I are business pals. We worked together a bunch of times. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul-mouthed and hard-nosed. Never heard a kind word out of this guy the whole time I've known him.
É, tô vendo, dá pra ver que ele é assim mesmo.
And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being, what, pushing 40, 30, something? Anyway, point is, a lot older than when he first got rejected by the girl he was into.
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again. Do I make my...
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to drink. All right.
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Lyney, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion. Any thoughts?
Totally.
Também achei
And what
estranho.
was all that about compensating you for your losses? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a little suspicious, but this guy's definitely covering something up.
I think so too. We need to look into Lorenzo more closely. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only...
Cadê a nave pra ajudar como fala? A investigar. Mano, fazer lendária é legal, mas é longa pra caralho. Nossa. Calma, já volto. Voltei. Essa música de Fontaine é minha favorita.
You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too many. I said way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah, I nearly talked myself into complete financial ruin. Note to self, no more drunken chats when Lorenzo's around.
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off? Ugh, Paimon knew he was a bad egg.
Caralho.
Hey, keep your voice down. Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs. Bad things happen to people who ask too many questions or make an enemy out of them.
What kind of bad things?
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this conversation short. I'm not crossing that line again. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him flare up back there. I don't know what you said to him, but clearly it touched a nerve. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this. Don't get in over your head.
And there he goes. What do we do now, Lenny?
Shh. I think we're being watched. Someone was listening in to our whole conversation. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards.
Beleza. Longe, hein? Longe. Vamos ver quem que é. Ó, é ali.
You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Lyney. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag this out.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister. Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you're going. Capiche?
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this.
O Lyney fala que não é bom lutador, sendo que ele é um dos mais fortes do jogo.
Now disappear.
Muito bom. Olha isso, mano.
I'm
O
fine.
cara dá muito dano, velho.
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't gonna work like it did on the lady.
Come on,
Com
let's
aquela
scram.
mulher? Será que é a nave é que ele disse?
Hey, wise guys!
Ou a Clorinda?
Oh, they got away!
Olha a energia aqui no
Did you
chão.
catch what they said just before they left? Something about, it sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And they've already done, you're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and she acted like she had something that maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth.
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open. Let's head back to the cafe and see if...
Next on the agenda,
Pena que não tem comentário nesse restaurante.
we're way
Ou
behind
tem?
schedule.
Não, não tem. Que pena, velho. Deveria ter, hein? Devia ter aumentado por dentro. Olha o net aí.
Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and we gave them a taste of their own medicine, so you can relax now.
What? Why? I didn't tell you anything. Why would they come after you?
Caralho. É, realmente.
Sounds like they're no strangers to you.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all too well, and I hate them with every fiber of my being. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me not to do anything stupid. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get to the bottom of it all?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. I will expose the Phantom Weasel's true identity. Because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance.
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. If possible, I'd like to take a look. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his death, and I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma. Don't let her come to harm.
Got it. But if I'm staying here, I'm ordering to...
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too. They're likely...
Okay. Alright. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this more seriously now.
Oh, meu Deus. Pronto.
Next on the agenda.
Aonde? Tá ali, né?
Next on the agenda.
Oh, meu Deus. Tá difícil. Vamos lá. Aqui. Nesse buraco. Não, não é aqui. Ah, mas nem fudendo. Pra onde essa porra tá apontando?
We're way behind schedule. We're way behind schedule. Next on the agenda. We're way behind schedule. Next on the agenda.
Mano, é que eu não sei, não lembro onde fica. Deixa eu ver aqui. Vou pra cá mesmo, é isso. Não tem jeito. É o único jeito. Ótimo, eu caí. Nossa. Que horror, tá difícil, hein? Tem nada aqui. Aqui?
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Looks like these boxes are blocking the end.
Eita.
There we go. It should be just down here.
É um domínio, quer ver? Eu disse? Eu falei. Toda lendária é assim. Vai esse mesmo. É, foi como eu disse, tá difícil mesmo. Que lugar bonito. Deve ter nada aqui, mas... É foda, né? Eu caí tudo. Mano, eu vou tentar a última vez subir ali em cima. Se não der, eu desisto. Não dá pra subir em cima dessa grade. Esse que tá me irritando. A última. Falei que aquela era a última, mas essa é a última. Não vai dar pra subir em cima. Ali parece até tipo um bagulho pra cortar caminho, mas tipo, não dá pra cortar caminho, é só uma decoração. Ou não, é pra cortar mesmo, não sei. Sei na real, mas não importa. Um buraco. Olha, é foda, né? Não! Não cai não. Ah, eu tava com as ult tudo cheia. Meu Deus.
So this was Caesar's workshop.
Não, de novo. Ah, não,
Nothing
mano.
suspicious here, just not.
Que merda que eu tô fazendo. Vou aumentar até 2. É, não vai até o 3, né? Acho que tem que aumentar até lá e tá lento, né? Ou constelação para ir até o 3.
What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
And voila! Step right up.
Whoa. Look, the doll in the box is glowing.
Puzzle não.
There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look.
Tem ali em cima.
Looks like we've reached the end of this route.
Tem nada.
Shall we try a different one?
Ah, isso aqui é só mecanismo.
These boxes are
não.
moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
Poxa, devolveu o tiro. Tem nada aqui. É pra lá então. Mano, não tenho certeza, mas eu acho que ele devolveu o tiro, não?
Allow me. Got it. We're supposed to find the box that lit up at the start, right? There should be another wish list inside. Let's keep trying.
Não consigo. Ah, eu errei o número. Ia curar ele, mas tava errando o número.
Trust me, rebuild.
Ah, ele tá ali, ó. Todo mundo sem ult ainda. Tá nem perto de encher.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hit... Aha!
A secret
I'm a magician too, and a pair looks pretty big inside.
Pauzinho. Celuloide. Pera. Então quer dizer que se alguém faz uma missão lendária e deixa de pegar esse selo, a pessoa perde o selo para sempre, né? E o selo fica inútil. Pô, é sacanagem, porque se tiver limite de selo pelo mapa, significa que vai sobrar selo, a pessoa, não vai faltar selo para a pessoa comprar a última coisa que falta. E ela não vai poder pegar, porque ela já fez a lendária. Oh, meu vacilo se foi isso aí, hein? Espero que seja só um bônus, não sei, pra sobrar.
And voila!
Caso sobre, um bônus pra caso sobre ou falte, sabe? Tipo, você não quer pegar os últimos que falta pelo mapa.
Round of applause! Now disappear!
Pera, ele se cura.
And voila!
Why have you stopped, Lenny?
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you... If anyone makes a major discovery, let's...
All right. See you in a
the placement of this device inside.
Ó, dá pra entrar aqui dentro. Agora estamos solos,
We're way behind schedule.
sem a ajuda dele. Outro puzzle. Quebra-cabeça, é? Não entendi, deixa eu ver. Ah, sem repetir o caminho. Que droga. Talvez eu tenha que começar por aqui. Não por ali. É, por ali mesmo, provavelmente. Eu acho, não tenho certeza. Ah. Deixa eu voltar pra cá. Ah, não dá. Eu devia ter ficado parado. Ah, mas já entendi como é que funciona. Já entendi. Já entendi como funciona. Oxi. Ah, como foi? Qual foi? O negócio bugou, velho. Na hora que andou. Tá falando com. Aí eu consegui. O quê? Ah não, mais um. Ah não, achei que ia ter mais um. Pera, realmente vai ter que fazer mais um. Ah, não vou não. Vai aparecer alguém, quer ver? Tenho certeza.
Two children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. I do hope they got homesick. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. It's not uncommon for children to ask this, of course, but I told them that learning magic is very hard work. But that didn't faze them at all. It's like they already knew. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the two kids if they'd like to come with me. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents have other plans for them. I guess we'll be... It's only been 10 days since I first met them, but I think that I've gotten a feel for their personalities now. They're very tough, but also very cautious, and they trust no one but each other. This, I fear, is not a good habit to have. They hide things from me too. For example, When I ask them where they live and why, that's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover something up, it always shows somehow. I can sense that their lives have been hard, possibly even dangerous too. They're not like other children. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than P.P.S.? Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just went in one ear and out the other. I bet they've already forgotten every word I said. Oh, Caesar, Caesar. Just mind your own business next time. At one of my shows a few days ago, a child as a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole bunch of kids were pest, so I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write, I wound up saving very little this month. But that's not a major issue. I now have a... It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those two children. I'll have to talk him around. I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being...
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Lyney and
Muito
Lynette, don't you?
confuso.
So did they meet?
Deixa eu ver se... Não aparece mais nada.
Next on the agenda.
Olha, entrei dentro da cartola do e-mail.
Lyney?
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going
Na
on
verdade,
in this
nem sei se
place.
parece com a dele. Nem sei.
Fishy?
All in good time. Before we go over our new first, the magician slots themselves into At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a... Oh no! Is that me? Did I just fall?
Very vivid description. Paimon can really...
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the... Of course, that's just how I think the process... The inventor of this, he fell right to the ground from the... And no one else has ever attempted this trick since.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person. Wait a second. So if it...
Glad you asked. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself. Once the magician's inside, and the box is lifted up and from where they're standing, they have a... At this point, the magician presses a button and he then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house.
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined.
Well, there's a little more to it than that. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone in. Caesar was a highly accomplished...
So, how did it go so...
I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had this...
Okay.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact, because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand, but a magician, the essence of magic, and so, but in his most stressful and exactly, I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a, but I'm sure he was confident. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, much like when you reach for your keys but find your... Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing... With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything.
But in reality, someone switched the... But how would they be able to make this...
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props around without around... Isn't that right?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know. Silencing you the hard way just creates more problems for me, but I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the...
You mean Gemma? So you are the one who's been threatening...
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a... Which is why you can't leave this place alive.
Do you?
É, cai dentro.
One with nature. The fallen leaves adorn my night.
Blaze over. Allow me. Haste. Share my knowledge.
Step right up.
Nossa, espancado. Ô, louco. É, né? Ficou se achando o maior. E agora é ele que tá no chão.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking. And what I'd really like to know is...
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. Of course you idolized Caesar, everyone else did. But I was the real genius magician. Me. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the fine art it is today. The aristocrats doffed their hats to me.
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. I hated Caesar. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him, never bothering to think about Mora. What sort of fool devotes their life to the art of deception and never has a... But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one gave me a second look. All I ever heard was amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing more than the life I already had. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. There was nothing he hated more than that. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in my own brand of money-making magic, he would expose me, and it would destroy me. I had to kill him. There was no other way.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance, maybe you were in love with Gemma, but she was engaged to Caesar.
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next question. Are you...
I am.
Viu? Eu falei que era ele. Eu falei, não tinha como não ser. Não tinha.
He insisted that his way was the right way. That the sole purpose of magic was to bring joy to the world.
Eu acertei
I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped me fill my pockets with all kinds of valuable...
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would
Eu
steal
também já
whatever
imaginava
people
que a
found,
mulher
no matter how much
que
it was
tava
worth.
falando era aquela. Imaginava já. Só que eu não imaginava que ele matou o cara lá.
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my...
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready.
What choice do I have? Europe, so be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last...
Very well. In that traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo.
Acabou.
At least I...
Lyney has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to framing him for the Phantom Weasel's crimes?
Look who's finally developed a What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it. Because...
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lyney? Should we start preparing for your show?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody, Gemma will no longer have to fear for her safety.
Good point. We should go tell Gemma the good news right away. It'll give her some...
E aí, o que vocês acharam? Eu, sinceramente, gostei. Mas eu preferia que as diárias não deu... Não, eu sei que é bom as lendárias ser grande, só que... sei lá, né?
You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation. You're not gonna...
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now. But try to eat a more...
Point
A carinha dela. Ai, ai, muito bom.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into custody as we speak.
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I still didn't know if I could trust you, but I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay, we understand. He did threaten you. Paimon would find it hard to trust strangers in your position, but you don't need to be scared anymore. Everything's gonna be
Sorry. My emotions are all... I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. But I had people watching me all the time, so I couldn't risk looking into it. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me, and then no one would be left to visit Caesar's grave. So I never had the courage to speak out. Thank you all. True.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and... to think that lowlife's been... At least his soul can finally rest in peace.
If only I'd realized.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma.
Yeah, you still have the...
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the op. This show will be a special one.
In Caesar's honor. Thank you.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Travel.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a Wait. Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary! We never found out if the two kids Caesar taught magic
Não
to were
acabou?
Lyney and Lynette or not.
Não.
Lyney changed the topic back in the workshop, so we didn't get a chance to bring it up. Oh well. Guess we'll just have to ask Lyney tomorrow evening.
Oi, é foda, viu? E ainda tá pedindo pra mudar a porra do horário de novo. Sacanagem. É a 6, que ódio. Eu não tinha lido as horas, mas eu chutei que era as 8 no jogo. Olha onde a nave ficava. Muito legal. Olha, Net. Olha olhando pra cá. Ah, é o show. Olha a Charlotte ali.
Paimon's excited to see another of Lyney's magic show.
Not this time. My brother's going solo today. So, I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready. The great magician Lyney has prepared a spectacular...
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare...
Exciting stuff.
Yes, it's just...
No wonder. Caesar was a famous magician, so... how did...
Well, I was out on the street once. Children love magic because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. Caesar had this amazing way of bringing them into a dreamlike world. And somehow...
Aw, that sounds so romantic. What trick did he...
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand, snapped his fingers. I was so happy that day. No one had ever given me a flower.
Oh, that's so cute! Actually, now that you...
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart, just like Caesar. So let's treasure the time we have with him. After all, You never know when the people dearest to you
Eu fui
might
pego de surpresa
be
agora.
gone.
Agora eu entendi uma coisa. Não vou comentar, mas quem entendeu, entendeu.
That's right. It's, Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort.
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now.
See? Even when that's the Phantom Weasel, Lorenzo escaped. Where is he?
What do you...
As Lyney once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their audience. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put in a...
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all... There will now be a brief intermission. The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House. So
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they?
O quê? É ela?
Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
Ou não, não sei. Tô perdido, não sei na verdade, não sei de nada. Não tô entendendo nada.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid I can't do any tricks to liven up the mood. This is a big mistake for a magician to make, but
Lyney? Don't we have more? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago. Oh, what the...
all in good time. Magicians
Então não
are
era
good
ele.
at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions you want to ask. And as it happens, the story I'm about to tell might answer a few of them.
Really? Well then...
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine. She never missed a target, never left a trace, and... But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day, she ran the risk of being exposed for who she was. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long, she found her ticket to freedom. She would create a scapegoat, a false weasel to close the... After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all, magic and theft shared enough similarities for people to buy the story when the truth came out.
So...
Being the master deceiver she was, the weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him for her countless... But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. Maybe I don't need to get my hands dirty after all. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers. It's enough to make even me wonder what... But I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale. What's brought this on, Lyney?
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too forthcoming with his confession. as if there was something else he was trying to hide.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt that you, Gem, with a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her betrothed is Caesar was maligned and hated by all for who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front.
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was just a hoax? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out even at the end instead of a
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Lyney, if you're so confident in your version of events, then I think the answer should be obvious. Having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the Weasel remained free, then she could take care of Lorenzo's loved ones.
An excellent answer, though sadly a little dull.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to change the topic to something more interesting, I'd be much obliged.
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really like to understand. Why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any light?
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here, aren't we? If I had to guess, I would say that the real Weasel must have left to fend for herself after her parents died young. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. She'd sew up. This was her only source of happiness in life. But it was all she needed, and she was content. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground for dark thoughts. Thoughts which festered and grew. I detest the happiness of others, in all its forms alike. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true. And it will fill.
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Now it all makes. Does this story satisfy you, Lyney?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my confusion.
Huh. That's right. What drove you to write that letter, Gemma? What were you because without that, none of this would have ever come to light.
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the history books by now. Lyney. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter out.
Very sharp,
Eita,
Phantom
foi
Weasel.
ele.
Still as shrewd as ever. Well,
Então foi
no
ele,
need for me to be
caralho.
coy about it.
Surpresa.
Our goal was to clear Caesar's name.
Entendi tudo agora.
The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold most dear, just as you did to me 10 years ago.
10 years ago? You mean Caesar's death? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something? And you went to all this trouble. Why? Because you feel like you still owe him something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. 10 years on, and no one cares what the truth is anymore. But we did not forget. And so...
And? What exactly did you take from me? I'm still standing, as you can see. Lorenzo has admitted to everything. I'm
free? Do you Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, we must find... I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with nostalgic value. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing...
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's because you found something other than a life of crime to fill... Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act, and took pains to make sure any suspicion would be directed towards him. He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. He's the reason that you haven't felt the compulsion to steal in all these years. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, deep down, that he is the only truth you have in your life. But that truth is gone now, and I guarantee you, you'll never...
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone in a world full of lies and falsehoods. I do hope you'll be able to bear it.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the... I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the...
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led to his fatal fall. But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the real weasel has now confessed to their crime.
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been practicing the Traveler, Paimon. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone...
Lyney, you two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So what about now? You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day, you'll end up exactly where I am today.
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
Caralho, que foda. Essa frase.
So, like Lyney said, when you're ready, let's head outside and watch the show.
What about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lyney after the show, you know...
All right. Well, let's go and watch Lyney's finale then. This...
Magicians are not like thieves, only tear things apart.
Ué, não era aqui? Oxe, é aonde então? É pra realmente sair lá fora? Não, é pra ir pra cá mesmo. Eu não tô entendendo esse jogo. Olha isso, mano. Que jogo desgraçado. Não fala onde que é pra ir. Se eu subo, ele fala pra descer. E se eu desço, ele fala pra subir. Olha isso, mano. Caralho. Que ódio.
We're way behind schedule.
Não, não é possível um negócio desse. Não tem outro lugar pra subir aqui, simplesmente não tem. É aqui? Entrar por fora? Que ódio, hein? E o negócio falando pra assistir o negócio em bagulho alto. Sendo que, ó, assista o truque de fuga em alta atitude. Então pode estar em lugar alto. Então era ali, né? Não, é aqui. Só que aqui não tem um lugar alto. Tem, né? Mas não vai subir em cima. Tá, essa é muito estranha. Ah, tá, agora entendi. É ele que vai estar em alta atitude. Tá. Entendi.
Magic
Agora.
should be mysterious,
Eita, que bonito.
surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright.
Ah, que
We're used to that.
bonitinha. Meu Deus.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
Não acredita que ela tem orelhinha
It's
de
okay.
gato.
Do you still remember
Quer
what I
dizer, ela
told
tem,
you?
né? Mas tipo,
This world
cabelo
is full of lies
grande, eu
and
falei errado.
falsehoods.
Não acredito que ela tinha cabelo
I
grande
only
assim.
hope that one day
Tipo, eu vi uma foto, eu vi uma fanart dela assim, mas eu pensei,
What about you? Have you found
seria
your
bonito uma skin
truth?
dela de cabelo
magic
grande,
is my truth.
cabelo solto.
I want to perform a magic trick
Mas eu
so
nunca tinha
great
visto,
that
agora eu
people will
vi.
always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician,
Que bonito.
what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lyney is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Meu Deus. Ai, que bonito! Nossa, Paimon ficou muito bonitinho nesse negócio também. Olha que lindo! Mano, isso é muito bonito. Olha o tiro! Ah não, vai parecer um tiro. Nossa, mano, isso é muito bonito! Ué, por que tá tão bonito assim? Essa é uma missão lendária.
This honor belongs to you,
Mano,
Caesar.
meu Deus! Isso tá
I'm just
bonito
sorry
pra
it's a little
caralho.
late.
Ok, uma cena de palmas.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and the next, he turned and...
How could he possibly have done?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just vanished.
Right? What a heart-stopping magic show. This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Lyney has fulfilled a wish on his behalf.
Looks like everyone really loved Lyney's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Lyney anywhere. Where'd he go? Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, oh, you mean the one? Yeah, that's probably... Alright, let's go look for him.
Logo no cemitério é foda, né? Poderia ser tipo, sei lá, na casa dele. Mas logo no cemitério. Porque aí só encontrou ele nesse cemitério, nesse lugar, entendeu? Só nesse local. A gente só foi no cemitério com ele por conta dessa missão.
We're way behind
Porque a gente
schedule.
conheceu ele lá na saída de... lá na entrada de Fontaine. Saída não, entrada. Ah, pode ser a saída também, não importa.
Lyney! Are you alright? Paimon would...
Magic? I was honestly a little nervous during... Sometimes... Did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on?
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you...
After I joined the House of the Hearth, I told you about my past before, but I quickly realized that I needed to learn how to... We were gifted enough that we...
So that's why you sought Caesar?
Yes. In all, we only spent 10 short days together. For instance, when he asked why... But in truth, there was already a lot more. What amazed me was how the trust is a beauty...
Lyney.
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the house of the hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death, and was now that night. I remembered to keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium after a show. You only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma. Because I felt it for myself.
Yeah, sure. We've had to say our fair share of delicious food, fun toys, and the traveler by my side. Paimon just needs, you know, traveler.
Olhando assim, eu fico imaginando a gente saindo de Fontaine e se despedindo do Lyney assim. Não parece uma despedida? Tipo, Nathan chegou e nós estamos se despedindo do Lyney para ir pra Nathan, tá ligado? Não parece? Sei lá, parece uma vibe assim, sabe?
We are the truest thing each other has in the world, and nothing can replace that.
Sei lá.
Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma.
Pode ser que eu seja o único a pensar assim, mas parece. Porque tem o diálogo, não fique triste, vamos ficar nessa plateia, não sei o quê.
Alright, time to lighten the...
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted. Lyney?
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something. The Lyney...
Oh, all right then. I'll give it a go, but only because it's you. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand. We ain't going along...
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay.
3, 2...
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appear...
Really? Let's see.
Ai.
Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, but more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is done, please!
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start...
Fine!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic cannot solely rely on...
Is that...
look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my... I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Paimon, let's head to the Steambird's office and...
Acabou? Agora realmente acabou. E ganhamos uma florzinha. Não acabou? Meu Deus! Pelo amor de Deus! Quanto tempo? Quanto tempo vamos ficar nessa? Pô, eu entendo. Tá legal, mas... Mano... Que isso? Já tá, sei lá, quanto tempo de vídeo. Não consigo saber que tempo que já tá de vídeo.
It's so nice to de-stress.
É complicado. Não, eu espero que dessa vez acabe, né? Nossa senhora, não deu nem pra... Não deu pra...
My sister and I are quite busy today.
Dá nem pra...
I'm afraid we'll have to decline this interview.
Dar imersivo, não, imersivo não, tanto faz. Pra não ter que cair no chão. Não, pra não tomar dano no chão. De altura, quer dizer.
Oh, please, Lyney, I'll only take a moment of your time.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel. and it was going to go to, but just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had contacted the guards and confessed to having been the real Phantom.
That was quick.
Too late, bro. That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catching up to do. Please. Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to hide. Gemma turning herself in must have something to do with Lyney's performance.
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with—
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it. If that's— Oh, I remember now. You and Gemma were in— Quickfire question. Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Lyney did a private magic trick. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon. Guess.
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean that they're more important to you than your own sister?
Nossa, caralho. Ai. Que isso, Lynette?
No, I just...
What now? Oh, did Paimon say so? This is getting pretty awkward. What do we do, Trap?
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. There's always next time. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. The news about Gemma has already made waves. Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last— Alright, I guess I'll leave you to—
Lynette?
Don't worry, I wasn't angry.
Oh, really?
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
Perder não vai ficar no inventário pra sempre. Porque, né, não sai de lá o negócio. Ganhamos geminha? Ganhamos geminha, eu acho. Deixa eu ver. Ganhamos umas boas geminhas. Enfim, acabou a missão. Ai, meu Deus do céu. Demorou, mas eu gostei bastante. E vocês, o que acharam? Eu gostei bastante. Depois tem que fazer essa missão aqui. Não em vídeo, vou fazer em off. E aguardem, terá a live do Zongli, ok? Terá. Podem esperar. Inclusive, eu queria mostrar minha Limite C6. Ó, 77 de proficiência, 51 de taxa, 132 de dano crítico. Tem que aumentar muita coisa nela ainda, eu acho. 160 de recarga e 70 de bônus a Nemo, dano a Nemo. Artefatos, eu tô usando o tupi dourada, né? Eu tô usando tupi dourada. Eu tô usando tupi dourada. Tô começando a achar que não era tupi dourada nela, mas sei lá. Não tenho certeza se eu tô usando certa. Eu tô usando artefato errado nela. Meu Deus. Eu acho, deixa eu ver aqui. Não tô usando certo. Meu Deus. Tô ficando maluco já. Enfim, eu tô usando eu não sei o nome desse artefato. Deixa eu ver. O Caçador das Sombras. Ó, tô usando esse aqui. Esse aqui também é novo. Ó, esse aqui tá mais ou menos, né? Esse aqui tá ok, tá ligado? Esse aqui péssimo, mais ou menos, depende. Pera, eu não coloquei? Oxi. Ah, tá. Esse aqui eu tive que botar Coringa mesmo. Ele tá com dano crítico bom. Só a defesa e o ataque aqui que é muito bruxante. Taxa crítica tá ruim, mas o ataque aqui, o dano crítico salva. Mas de resto tá ruim. Tá vendo? Eu tenho que melhorar bastante ela ainda. Não sei o que fazer. Talvez seja até melhor botar um de dano crítico aqui, ó. mas não sei, tá ligado? Eu não sei. Se eu conseguisse 20 de taxa, aí compensaria. Aí compensaria bastante. Mas aí, comentem o que vocês acharam da live, porque a live não, um vídeo que acabou por aqui, vai acabar por aqui mesmo. Eu tenho que almoçar ainda. 1h10 da manhã, meu Deus. 1h10 da tarde já.
We're way behind schedule.
E eu esqueci de avisar que
We're way behind schedule.
talvez eu faça um vídeo não, uma live especial andando por Inazuma até
Should we really be off work this early?
até
There is still a lot left to do.
Inazuma até Fontaine. Acho que é Inazuma até Fontaine. Inazuma até Fontaine. Não sei, eu não lembro. Não lembro o vídeo que eu vi. Mas é mais ou menos o vídeo que eu vi aí de um canal gringo que eu não lembro. Mas é isso mesmo. Não quero enrolar muito não. Até o próximo vídeo. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. É nóis, falou.